social enterprise about maybe 4 or 5 years ago for a specific purpose, because we saw that part of being sustainable as a nonprofit would mean establishing a social enterprise. So when we first began, we actually were part of the church that I attended, which is the business center at the Covenant campus. So we broke away from that, established our own 501c3, and became the business center for entrepreneurship and social enterprise. So for me, with my journey, I was working at DuPont Medical Products. And, traveling up and down, that expressway, I don't know about you, but from time to time I thought, what if I get hit by one of these big trucks? And I really say that I had a passion for what I was doing, and I really couldn't say that with the work that I was doing. I believe I was getting critical work experience, and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to prepare myself to do something as an entrepreneur, because I knew that's what I always wanted to do. It's always been a spirit within me, because I worked as an entrepreneur within my family environment. Then when I went to University of Pittsburgh, I also worked closely with the Small Business Development Center there. So it was destined that I was definitely going to do something, but I wanted to be prepared. So anybody here who's thinking about being an entrepreneur, I would say be prepared, because I didn't want to start a business and then my credit score go down. I didn't want to start a business and then I can't support my kids. Look, I live in Philadelphia, and you know the education situation. So our kids, started in private school. Actually, my son is in public school now, but he's been fortunate to go to Blue Ribbon School. And then now he's at Carver Engineering and Science, which is also, as you know, they just won an award for their outstanding work, which placed them at a national level with other schools. But my daughter is still in private school because of the choices that, each child is individual. So you have to prepare yourself for not just yourself, but your future, which at that, I was in my 20s when I started. My future, I knew I was going to get married at some point and have a family. So entrepreneurship requires, building up those tools for yourself. Saying, I'm not going to leave my job without certain tools, having paid off certain debt. So once you get past that point and you decide to be an entrepreneur, the next thing is, what do you want to focus on? You're either working towards an MBA or you have an MBA. And one thing that I think the MBA has really been of value to me is that it's really taught me to think strategically. When I first left DuPont, I was actually starting a nonprofit and starting a for-profit at the same time. So at a transportation company as well as the nonprofit. The nonprofit was sort of like on the side, because like I said, I was working closely with the church at that time, and I saw they were going in a different direction. I said, you know what, we got to do this thing by ourselves. Get our own 501c and get this thing going, the way we see it, the way we see the vision and mission, which is to start, sustain, and expand businesses. So the focus of the Business Center for the past 14 years, and it'll be 15 years that we've been established in December, has been really equipping people with tools that they need to have a fully capitalized business. And what I mean by that is 100% that you understand not just where to go and get financing, but how to use the financing, which financing you should use, because not all financing is the same, how much product or service you need to move in a year, in a month, and a day, and also how to do your pricing. So a large part of our, I guess, clientele is startup, but what we see the trend now is, for us, there are so many like organizations that work with startup. There's so many like organizations that have business planning courses. So what we have decided to do going forward is to specialize in emerging industries and support the emerging industries, which they need a whole different set of tools and marketing with that, and I guess pieces to be successful. And couple of things that I'm working on right now is with the banking institutions, is designing a loan product that works. In other words, you have a loan product that the banks give you. That's one. And that may or may not get you a loan. And in most cases, Richard, it's difficult. It's difficult. And there are certain things that you'll never see in a textbook, that when we walk in the door, make it difficult for us. There's a construction company that we're working with. It's a female-owned construction company. And she walks in the door and she gets questions like, so do you do the work? So who actually is managing the projects? Of course, if a white male counterpart walked in, he wouldn't get those same types of questions. So we just tried to serve as an advocate, because we have also established relationships with our banking partners, with our state representative, with our city council, so that we can have the same opportunities, the same playing field, and just be open and honest about the process. So to be more specific about where I see opportunities, I think that study the best practices and the models that are out there. One comes to mind is the Initiative for Competitive Inner Cities, where they focus on high growth companies staying in urban areas. A lot of people are moving from the suburbs back into the cities, and organizations such as Black MBA, such as the Black Data Processors, we're hoping will be those professional emerging companies, such as companies like what Tim had, that will take advantage of those opportunities to be in the urban settings, use flex office space, but also support those corridors where there, may be retail companies or restaurants that you'll go and eat at, that you'll get your clothing cleaned at, but at the same time, you'll be able to have access to contracts, working with corporations, working with the Small Business Administration. One of my friends, she was a nurse, and she got her MBA. She worked at Keystone Mercy Health Plan for about 4 or 5 years. She then was able to get a contract, an 8A contract. Her first contract was $2.5 million. She's now a $13 million company. And so, again, just knowing how to access the opportunities gave her that opportunity. What we're also doing is partnering with other organizations. I had the pleasure of partnering with Wayne and Jeff in many cases. Just to give you an example, Wayne, the community college, has a 10,000 small business. So they're being more strategic in a small business, not just starting, but at the end of the rainbow, having this access to capital. So those businesses have been in business for a while. And our primary, focus is startup, but after you've been in business for a while, it's nice to have a handover. So that handover then becomes 10,000 small businesses. In addition with the work that Jim does in his deep experience, I had a client who designed a hair product. She wanted to charge $15 for it. We did a focus group, and she's now charging $35 for it. And it's a 2-ounce jar of straightaway souffle. 2 ounces. But now her challenge was, should I continue making this myself, or should I find a manufacturer? So I was able to connect with Jim, and he was able to find her a manufacturer. It's just knowing the best practices again. Does it make sense for you to continue to manufacture something yourself, or should you, once you get to a certain point, have a manufacturer so you can meet your volume? She's selling this hair product without even putting it on the website, and she's, bringing in what about? Yeah.
But she'll do more money
Once she establishes a website, but she's just being so meticulous that she's just getting business through Facebook at this point. But it's just thinking more strategically and knowing where the opportunities are. So right now, the opportunities I feel are in healthcare, they're in IT, they're in manufacturing, they're in food service. Those are the areas where I see opportunities for entrepreneurship, for growth, and where you can grow a relatively nice-sized business that you can support yourself